This is insane. This is the build to use during episode Heresy for all you warlocks out there. In fact, this build's so good, I might just have to leave my Titan for a little bit just to have fun on this one. I'm talking infinite abilities, infinite supers, all the workings of what makes a build fun in Destiny 2. Bungie just introduced a new aspect into the game. It's called Ionic Sentry. We're going to give you a breakdown, and we're going to have a dim link down below that you can find if you want to have easy access to this build. So you got Ionic Sentry on, which is defeat targets with kinetic or arc weapons or abilities to charge up an arc turret that periodically chains lightning between nearby targets, granting it stacks of bolt charged with each hit. Now that might sound like a whole lot, and you might be wondering, where do I go with all this? Don't worry about it. It's not that difficult. It's just shoot your arc weapon. We got an excellent selection of arc weapons for you to pick from here, and shooting arc weapon a ton is just going to do all the work for you. You're going to notice your abilities popping up all the time, your super popping up all the time. It's going to be awesome. We're going to pair this with Electrostatic Mind. Defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets creates an Ionic Trace. You're going to want a lot of those. Collecting Ionic Trace makes you amplified. So those are the two aspects that we're going with. Our grenade, pulse grenade, melee, ball lightning, burst glide, healing rift, and then chaos reach, because we're going to be chaos reaching everything. For the fragments, spark of resistance is always good just for damage resistance, staying alive in any challenging end game activities, and you can bring this build into challenging activities. This will actually hold up pretty well, of course, unless your team needs you to be a well lock, because that seems to be the case for most warlocks out there. F's in the chat. Born to Stormcaller, forced to well lock. Next up, we have Spark of Discharge here. Arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace, which is why we're going to be focusing entirely on using arc weapons and not the kinetic weapons, which does technically synergize with Ionic Sentry. We're going to be leaning into the arc weapons, however, though. And like I said, we got a list of a bunch of good ones here, and collecting Ionic Trace grants you a stack of Bolt Charge, so you can see the synergy here, right? We got Ionic Traces being created like crazy, Bolt Charge being created like crazy, and then defeating a jolted target or defeating a target with Bolt Charge creates an Ionic Trace. So again, it's all looping together as well here, and your arc grenades also jolt targets. So everything is tying into everything extremely well there with just the synergy of the subclass alone. Now, as far as the arc energy weapons, you can also use arc heavy too, but the energy weapons is going to be the primary one you're going to go with, especially because you can have infinite ammo with some of them. Lodestar is a new exotic arc weapon, and it can be kind of fun. You might want to experiment with that. I just didn't find it to be powerful enough to be the primary choice for this build. So if you're going to use a primary one, probably Trinity Ghoul is going to be the play. If you're not going to use a primary, Indebted Kindness is so good, especially if you have that god roll with lead from Golden Volt Shot. You'll be able to get a ton of ammo for it and actually be able to use it quite a bit. As you can see in the gameplay behind me here, I'm able to use it pretty hefty. And then Delicate Tomb has also really good potential with this. You might choose Delicate Tomb as your overall weapon. It's entirely up to you. If you run out of ammo though, I would default into swapping to Trinity Ghoul, but teach their own. You might have better ammo management than I do, but I ran out a little bit out of ammo with my energy weapon, so back and forth with Trinity Ghoul and Indebted Kindness for me in general, and then Arc Machine Gun if you really want. So that's what we're doing in regards to that. Now, breaking down the artifact. So the artifact we're going with, we got I'll show you all the different mods. We have Volatile Marksman here, which is nothing to play with this, and Unraveling Orbs doesn't have anything to do with this. We have Photonic Flare, which is defeating an exhausted or severed target with arc damage, releases a blinding burst, which is nice. So we're obviously dealing a ton of arc damage, so things are constantly just getting blinded, and that verbiage leans into the rest of the build as well. Exhausted targets have reduced damage, so anything that's powerful like Champion, Major, or Subjugator will be doing less damage. And then we have Dielectric, which is defeating arc debuff targets, grants Bolt Charge, which is really nice. Obviously, a lot of these targets are going to be jolted from your grenades and everything else chaining together, so that's going to constantly give you more stacks of Bolt Charge. So you'll constantly see on the left side of my screen, the buffs are just stacking on top, stacks on top of stacks like crazy. And then you can use this if you want to use Machine Gun, like we were using an Arc Machine Gun. Hold line's pretty good with that. Dreadful Finisher, definitely use this. That way you can get as much special ammo back as possible, especially if you're running out of special. When we're trying to use like Indebted Kindness, or if you're trying to use Delicate Tomb, definitely use that. Flashover, when you gain maximum Bolt Charge, you also become amplified. Lightning bolts deal more damage. That one's really nice. This is going to make it even more powerful for you. This is a really, really powerful mod. And if you're using Bolt Charge this season, make sure you have this one on. It makes it double the damage. Like, it's very, very good. And then I just had on particle reconstruction, and then, which didn't have anything to do with this, but then we had defibrillating blast, which you could technically have done with this because you could be using delicate tomb, right? So you could, if you're using delicate tomb, particle reconstruction. If you're not, then don't worry about it too much. Then we have defibrillating blast, stunning a champion, grants maximum stacks with bolt charge, triggers an arc bolt that heals and jolts combatants that it damages. So we're talking taking this into challenging content against champions is going to be a W for sure. Very strong build for that. All right, so that's everything with the artifact. That's everything in the subclass. We talked about the weapons. Now we're moving on to the armor. Of course, if we're going to be using arc weapons, we want arc siphon so we can make orbs for all those arc weapon kills. We got dynamo, which will reduce our super when you use our class ability. Not 100% necessary, but you know, we're trying to get our super back as fast as possible, right? So we'll do that. These were the stats I had, which are definitely scuffed because I'm a Titan main, all right? So we're rocking 100 resilience, 60 recovery, 90 discipline, 30 intellect, and 30 strength. And you can see the ability regen I have back there. Imagine if I had my stats up significantly higher. I probably could have spec'd it out a little bit more, but overall, I wanted to give this build a try because a lot of people were talking about it. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. I'll go for a spin in the nether with it. And it was very good. It surprised me how good it was. Then on our energy, or on our gauntlets rather, we have arc loader. Obviously we want to load these weapons as fast as possible. And then we're going to put on bolstering detonation, grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. Obviously we have like double grenades, like so many grenades and abilities going out, so this will be nice to create that infinite loop. You can see my abilities constantly recharging, super constantly recharging, etc. Fastball on just to fill in the last slot there. We have rainbow resist, arc solar void for the chest. Doesn't really matter, just whatever is shooting you. And then lastly, on the boots is going to be important. We're going to want double arc weapon surge to make our weapons as powerful as possible. And the recuperation just for that health regen. That's pretty much my go-to choice always. And sometimes though, I would recommend to have on one arc scavenger here though. So an arc scav could actually be really nice, especially if you're running out of ammo with the energy weapon. So be mindful of that. Lastly, on the class item, we got distribution, reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets. Now, obviously we're going to be in the midst of battle here, placing our healing rift down, and so that'll be nice. And then powerful attraction will pick up all those orbs nearby, granting us all those different armor charge and surges and healing us as well on top of everything. And then lastly, bomber, so when we pop that class ability we get that nade back even faster. So that's everything that I have on for that. That's the entire gameplay loop. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. And again, I'll have the dim link floating around, so that way if you're like, hey, I want to just click one button and have this all equipped onto my character, you'll have the ability to do that, because I think that a lot of people will really enjoy this build throughout Heresy. Bungie obviously brought in these new aspects so that way people would build craft with them and breathe some life into the arc subclass that's been, you know, pretty well shadowed by the prismatic subclass. So I think that this is the right move by Bungie, and I'm actually looking forward to spending a season using these arc builds because they're really powerful and really, really fun. In fact, they're so powerful that you can do some insane things on the Titan build, which I'm going to bring you a video very soon. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications on. Smash the like button for me. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.